So much of it comes from his illustrated letters. Charlie, his letters that Nancy dictated, basically Brian, that's the other thing I should make really clear. This documentary rode on the back of Brian Dippy, John Tolliver, Rick Stewart, Larry Peterson, these kinds of guys. That's the work, that's where I found, or they pointed me in a direction where we actually found Charlie's words, and those are his words.
Yeah, tell him how you're careful that we didn't edit, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie was not grammatically smooth. There are times where I'd have to. The good thing about film is you don't have to struggle through his misspelling, which John can maybe talk about. Are we going to have is it anywhere in any of the clips we talk about his struggles? It's in the actual hour one, but I don't know if in today's.
No, that's the part we're not going to say
later if you want.
Okay,
we got it.
John can maybe talk a moment about Charlie's verbal challenges.
All right, real quickly, because I'm kind of eager to see the next part. So when I was trying to figure out Charlie and discover him, Brian's book of Russell's Illustrated Letters, Word Painter, had just come out. And I had really pored over them and looked at them as works of art, but obviously as a biographer, as documents that I could then use to tell my story. And I'm looking at the spelling and the language. I said, there's something off here. And I took the book to a professional speech pathologist, language pathologist, who worked with hundreds and hundreds of young people, helped them get through school, people with dyslexia and other problems. And I literally plopped the book down on her desk and opened it up to illustrated letters, and she started going through it. This is somebody who has dysgraphia. Look, this is a man. This isn't Tom Sawyer, who didn't have. This isn't because he didn't have schooling. This is because he had a disability. He said, look, he can spell answer right here, A-N-S-W-E-R, very difficult word in the English language. And then down here, he spells of, F-O. This is not somebody this was not an illiterate person. This is a person who has problems with a neurological disability that's called dysgraphia. Some of that dysgraphia is a cousin to dyslexia, is how writing is organized on the page. If you look at some of the way they sort of trickle down into the bottom. She made a very persuasive case, and I brought that up in my book. It's somewhat controversial, but I still think it's very, it informs Charlie, and very much is part of his decision to get away from the establishment life in St. Louis.
In talking to Bill Pullman, to convince him to come on board to do this, we sent him 100 best letters, the book, the collection. And I think part of his understanding of Russell comes from looking at those letters. And this characterization voice, you talk about coaching, that's pretty much what he came to the studio with, isn't it? I mean, he created that sound.
He did, and he was he's a professional. He read that very quickly. He read the book, he thought about it. He sculpted his voice into this character. Two quick anecdotes. First about Bill Pullman. He was here back in the 70s performing Shakespeare in the Park all over the state. And when he and his wife first arrived in Montana, he was smitten by Charlie, and his wife gave him a red métis sash, which he wore for a long time. He's actually going to wear, hopefully if all goes well, he'll be here at the premiere, and he'll wear that then. And J.K. Simmons back right after college was in a musical review that toured the state about Charlie, and he was Charlie. So Charlie helped us pull these two actors in.
Might I just say one thing, William? I've done 3 anthologies of Russell letters. One of the most common comments I would hear is, well, it's all put on. The spelling, the grammar, everything is put on. The neat thing about working in the Russell manuscripts, where he actually was trying to draft a story, or even that amazing personal statement about essentially his life that goes at the front of his collection, More Rawhides, 1925, a word about myself. I've seen the manuscript and I reproduced the pencil manuscript. He worked and worked to get it right. And he still made lots of errors. And you would see in some letters that he had drafted, he would get a word spelled right or in the final letter because possibly Nancy, who wasn't a speller either, but somebody helped him out. He tried to make his letters understandable, but the mistakes always came in. It wasn't purposeful, it was his natural style. He writes you a note and pins it on his studio door, it will have errors in it. He writes a note to Jody Young, who can't hear, and it will have errors in it because he can't spell, and he's taking a guess at the word. And he sometimes will give it 3 different ways in one letter. He's really Lewis and Clark when it comes to spelling, if you...
The next 2 clips are